Hey beauties, morning to you beautiful people. All right, we're gonna keep it real here. This is not anything for anybody to feel offended, because these days you can't talk to anybody about anything, because everybody's either going to preach hate speech or they're offended, and not knowing that it is the enemy. He wants us to live in a fable, in a fantasy where everything seems utopic, like all is on a high. No, if I do something that is unwise or wrong, then it behooves me to take sound counsel, wise counsel. It behooves me. It's my duty. All right, and this is and I'm only speaking of my little knowledge of athletics. It's a sport that I love, track and field in particular, and so on. Now, if you notice, this Olympic, the entire Olympic, just seems to be very topsy-turvy. It's not the usual, let us put it that way. Even though many people were planning for something grandiose and great, and everything just has gone awry from the opening ceremony even to present. In particular, our Jamaican athletes, in general, not everybody. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, she had mentioned that there was a particular gate that they would have gone through to go to the warm-up area, and they had to, that would have been the shorter route, and she ended up having to take the longer route. And I don't know, it was said that she had maybe pulled her hamstring or something with her hamstring, or somewhere on her body got hit, and she opted, I guess she and her team decided that it's not best to run, for whatever reason. All right, let me deal with that first before I reach on to as it relates to Shericka. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce has been a fantastic athlete, in the sport of track and field during her tenure, because she said this will be her last Olympic. All right, coaches, and I'm saying this to the coaches because usually when things happen, it's best to go to the head. It's not wise to go to the athlete, although maybe the athlete can have some say in a sense, but it's best to go to the coaches. Hear what coaches, because sometimes when you see the comments, yes, mouth make for talk, but sometimes you don't want your good to be evil spoken of. Let us put it that way. What ends up happening, what people are saying is that, because I did see that long before the whole Olympic, people would say that why Shelly-Ann going back, based on her age, because it would seem a little bit selfish on your part, and where other athletes can be given the opportunity, so they can get used to Olympic and all of these things, because it's not everybody will have a sort of explosive first time feat like a Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce on their first Olympic. Some people have to go and then go again before things start to work out for them. Everybody or everyone blooms at different points and different times. So maybe what they're saying is that a decision should have been made from the get-go, since you look at age, you look at if there are any injuries and so on, and say, you know what, Shelly, I know you want to go about gracefully or whatever it is, but you know what, it's maybe best that you go and help with the 4x1, but let us bring somebody else to do the 100, at least have some competitor, some Jamaican. I know we did, I know Tia Clayton was there, but it's like she was showing up, how do I express it, she was sort of advertised in a more pronounced way late, that she's there and all of that, but she was sort of advertised more late. I don't know about athletics. Is it that you can't have you don't have an alternate or an understudy or something like that in case this main person can, maybe they can't do that, because it's just the fittest of the fittest, and whoever is there just will get that spot, I'm just thinking, well, I don't even know how to explain that. Maybe it's different. I probably liken it onto the performing arts. This person can't make it, then you have somebody who can take your spot. It goes for any country, as opposed to putting the pressure on the main act all the time, because anything can go wrong. Suppose, for example, all the main acts in all the countries that are competing in the 100, 200 or whatever meters can't make it for some reason, some unusual thing. They don't have somebody they're going to have an empty race. You know what I mean? So they don't make contingencies for these things. That's my take on it. So I think when these things happen and you realize, one, they reach a certain age, two, you see that there is a sort of injury that is lingering. It's like it's subliminal in a sense. That's what I mean when I say subliminal. But physically subliminal. Try and see if you can get what I'm saying. Maybe it's best to say, you know what? No bother. Make somebody else go. give others, as I said, athletes a chance. And I would say the same as it relates to Shericka, because, you know, as I heard one vlogger stated that it was a coach who had said she's good for the 200. You know, I don't know if the coach had said for 100 and 200, but you know, when they asked, you sure she's okay? Should, you know, blah blah blah, and they said, yeah man. The coach said yes, and then she not only pulled out of one but two races. So in other words, you would have known the situation before she would have gone to Paris. How would you be an effective coach? You know, that is what they're promulgating. So it gives the impression, notice they don't want your good to be evil spoken of. We're not saying it is so, but it gives the impression like you guys are selfish, like you just want the athletes, you want the, you know, this thing to be promulgated, or some sort of what should I say, no, viewership comes when you call the big names. So you push them to go knowing that they cannot do the race, while there are other athletes just dying to get an opportunity to run, and you never can tell. That athlete that could have gotten the opportunity could just get a first time boost and they get their names called, because we have to have good succession planning, because see, Shelly's on her way out. Shericka is in the mid tier, I would say, level, or the mid section. You know, she passed the beginning of her athletic career. You know, she's kind of in the middle in a sense to me. You know, see, Elaine is out because of injuries and so on, and we see the situation. So coaches, you have to look into these things, because it gives a wrong impression, it gives a bad view on how this thing goes. It just preach selfishness. That's how it, yeah, I was looking at some of the comments. Quite a number of people said it. And you know what happened? They end up blaming the athletes, and you can't just blame the athletes, because the athlete can't make a decision on his or her own just like that, unless he or she probably says, I'm in pain, I can't take it. And you know, then the coach would have to say, oh my goodness, all right, if you're in pain and you're this and you're that, that's different, because the coach can look on and say, all right, do this and do that and so on. You know, so coaches, you have to look into these things so that it does not give a wrong impression. You know, like it's selfishness is the order of the day. Remember, you know, we don't have the plethora of athletes like Americans, in terms of Americans entering all races. They enter all races, they enter all activities. We don't have that, so we have to hold on to the little way we have. So we have to make sure, one, we train many athletes and see if we can carry even a decent number in the same sport. I mean, I don't know the inner clauses. I'm sure that some of these things can be written in blood, as I said. If the main act can't do it, do they have something that another one can take over, or whatever it is, to have at least two in the field, train up two, you know? Because you would have seen from the season, you know, that something is going on with you know what, I don't want Shericka or Shelly. Let's just say, for example, Shelly wasn't at that age career to mess up. You know what, I'm going to pull them back and start from maybe the year before on these other two athletes, and then they can rest, come back and do their thing. You follow what I'm saying to you? They can do their thing. So coaches, they need to look into that, because it, as I said, it leaves a bad taste in the people's mouth and gives them a wrong impression of the athletes, to make them think the athletes selfish, or through them hunger Paris, and you know, and the other people who are there, they're not getting a chance, and the other athletes who are there are going to probably going to think that too, because they're humans, you know. Let's us be real. If you were in their position and say, you see there, I know that she has her injuries, you know that she's old, as it relates to athletic age, and yet you make her go, I know I could have done the job. You know, the pie is big, you know, and Shelly has made her name. Shericka is making her name, you know, still have more in the tank and so on. And, you know, but you need other athletes. You can't just depend on the 1-1, 2-2, because we've seen the sport over the years. And as I said, it's not like we're entering quite a number of the races. We had, Atkinson, you remember, who used to enter the swimming one, who would come third and so on. We don't have that anymore. Quite a number of these different sports, you don't see a Jamaican in it really, you know. And we have to just use some sort of wisdom and fairness and justice. I personally believe in that. So coaches, the bottom line is, if you see from a year, let us put it, because you have that eye that something is going on, I'm going to pull back on this athlete. It's not that you're taking away from them. You're making them, you know, their longevity in athletic world as long as possible. No, I'm going to train up the other two that are there. You have to look at that, because people are talking. All right? Anyway, guys, you know what to do in terms of subscribing to my channels. Have a great one. Stay blessed.